Hi everyone, and welcome to Ask Christa, the place where you can ask questions about how to work through business challenges and workplace issues. I'm Christa Dhimo, and today's question is about how to handle a coworker who puts people down. Here it is. I work with someone who's so bad-mannered that I'm thinking of leaving my company for a job with lesser pay just to get out of my current work environment. I've worked with him for 10 months, and his put-downs are intolerable. He says he comes from an older generation, back when people had a sense of humor, and if we don't laugh at his insults, he says we're too sensitive. I haven't spoken with my boss yet because he's seen the behavior and doesn't say anything, so I'm not sure he cares or will take me seriously. But here's an example. We work in the procurement department in a large construction company, and last week when my coworker met a new electrician helping review a sourcing agreement, my coworker said, "So, not smart enough for college, eh?" He quickly followed up with, "Nah, I'm just kidding. It's good you're tough enough to take a joke, though." But the new hire, who's young, just froze. He didn't know what to think, but he definitely didn't think it was funny. The rest of us were mortified, but we didn't say anything either. That's the part that's starting to bother me. I feel like I need to say or do something, but I also don't want to be his next target. I'm accommodating his bad behavior beyond what I'm willing to personally tolerate, and I'm also going along to get along. How do I stop accommodating without becoming a target? There's a lot involved in addressing this kind of situation, so I'm going to talk about what we can do for ourselves as the focus of this episode. When we're in situations where we feel like we have to go along to get along, as this question says, and we also feel that we have to compromise our values, which in this case usually includes treating others with basic respect and dignity, we're probably more depleted than we realize. Toxic work environments, and I would say this is an example, are draining. And a lot of times they're draining because that respect and dignity piece in any team environment is so critical if people are to do work well and do good work. Think about this. Respect is the regard for a coworker's work product and feelings, and dignity is showing someone that they are worthy of such respect. Humans thrive amidst feeling respected and shown dignity, and they close up and reroute to a get along, and go along to get along behavior if they cannot thrive, if they aren't in an environment where respect and dignity matter. And don't scoff at my mention of caring about your coworkers' feelings. How your coworkers feel are the ultimate in influence and impact. And in this case, the listener is thinking of leaving the organization because of someone else's bad behavior. That's a big deal. Would you rather work with the person who's asking the question or work with the person who puts people down? And I will say this, in every cleanup I've ever done within an organization, there's a meekness that grew into the culture, often because of a put-down or oppressive personality dominating the most critical teams. And I would say that in a large construction company, procurement is definitely a critical team. That one personality kept stronger and better organizational performance down, kept stronger and better employees from reaching their full potential, kept stronger and better managers from promoting into leadership positions. Those dominant put-down personalities kept stronger and better behavior from demonstrating and then exceeding higher standards and expectations that then resulted in organizations exceeding their goals. What would you prefer? So what can you do? First, understand the harassment policies in your workplace. And that might sound like a bunch of hoo-ha, but policies are there to communicate, clarify, and enforce expectations. And harassment is about behavior. Sometimes there are legal expectations based on laws that you must comply with. But sometimes there are corporate expectations based on practices and behaviors you're expected to support, perhaps specific to your industry or specific to your client base. Knowing your policies can often be the quickest and most straightforward way to resolve uncomfortable behavior in the workplace. And it's not just HR policies, but finance, IT, client dinners, and various other items. Policies are about expectations. Your policies will explain how to report and resolve issues where you believe the policies are being violated also. That's what they're there for. And by the way, there are federal and state laws across the United States and in other countries that protect the workplace such that employees feel they can work in a safe environment free of harassment, coercion, bribes, and various other bad behaviors. Knowing your work policies clarifies and reinforces what is and isn't tolerated in your workplace, and it may offer some structure for a discussion with your manager too. Second, talk to somebody. Reviewing the policies enables you to focus on specific examples of behavior and tag that to a place in the policy and also how you should report. This will not only validate your experience, but also give you a straight line for how to talk to your manager, or how to call a third-party hotline and report it, or how to file a case with your state or with your country. It's talking to somebody that matters the most. Okay, Christa, so how do I do that? My manager has seen this behavior and they do nothing. I know, I hear you, I get it. But as with everything related to your manager, it starts with trust. So if you still have that trust in spite of what you perceive to be your manager looking the other way, then you don't have to prepare a full legal brief. In Section 1, Subsection B, Paragraph 2, Page 5 of our anti-harassment policy, it expressly states you don't have to do that. But it could sound like the question our listener submitted with just a few changes since you're talking to your manager. It could sound like this. I like my job and most of the people I work with. I also thrive in polite, respectful environments. And I don't mind an occasional swear word, but there's a team member whose put down behavior is getting to a point when I'm feeling really uncomfortable. It's distracting and I'm not sure how to manage it, but I recall during orientation and in our policies that this is something I should bring to your attention. See what happens. If you don't have that kind of relationship with your boss, then who else is in a management position who you trust and can talk to? Or can you go to your business partner in HR? If those options don't exist for you in your workplace, then go to a mentor or anyone else you trust in your life who also works in a similar environment, or maybe even a different environment, but a similar environment meaning a professional environment, so that you can talk it out. And then get some real-time advice. Or maybe you'll learn from reviewing your harassment policy that the circumstance you describe should go directly to a confidential hotline where a third party will investigate anonymously and confidentially. Now, anonymous means that your name and hence identity is protected, and confidential means it's protected such that only those with specific access to the data will see it. I'll put some resources in the show notes. There's even a federal reporting mechanism here in the United States for harassment, at least as of June 2025. But Christa, I work in higher ed. We don't really have what you're talking about. That is true, to an extent. See if you have an ombuds service, and if you do, then trust them. This is the work they do and what they get paid for. To listen to your grievances, protect you when needed, and offer advice and a path forward. Now, as always, I've selected additional resources and put them in the show notes so you can review and learn more at your pace. You'll see a YouTube video from February 2022 on the Vanessa Van Edwards channel. She interviews Dr. Tessa West, who's the author of Jerks at Work, Toxic Coworkers and What to Do About Them. And while it doesn't focus on those who put others down, there's a section I've highlighted that talks about those who kick others down. But overall, it's a great segment. I've included Dr. West's HBR article too that talks about the 5 jerks in her book, how to spot each type of jerk, and then how to deal with them. You'll also find an article from Psychology Today called When Your Employee Insults You in Front of Others. Now, obviously, in this Ask Christa segment, the question is about a peer putting coworkers down, but the article offers insights and solid strategies to help you manage bad behavior at work, including those who insult or put others down. So it doesn't matter necessarily if it's your employee or your boss or coworker. This article matters. It will provide good information to you. You don't have to put up with it, and even subtle changes can make positive differences for you. And for those of you in the United States, although this is good information for anyone to have, I've included the web page from the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission about harassment. As of the taping of this episode, I have to say, mid-June 2025, federal law says harassment becomes unlawful under two conditions, with the second condition being that, and I quote, "The conduct is severe or pervasive enough to create a work environment that a reasonable person would consider intimidating, hostile, or abusive," end quote. And that's federal law, so it will be included in your anti-harassment policy at work. This is also why I say you should know your policies, because if nothing else, it enables you to better understand what you may have working in your favor, which could make you feel stronger. Okay, there it is, episode 17. See what I meant when I said season 2 is about how we focus on ourselves? I really feel for anyone dealing with this level of toxicity at work these days, but this is important. You're not alone. You are not alone. You can also submit your questions to my show's website, askchrista.com, that's Christa with a CH, and click on the big blue follow button. While you're there, sign up for my weekly Sunday night newsletter called More Answers. As always, I appreciate your support, so like, comment, and suggest this to others. And remember, if you have a business challenge or workplace issue, ask Christa.